Hello everyone, you are listening to the Upshift podcast. Today we are talking the 70th Anniversary Grand Prix. There was a lot of action, but even before the race there was a lot of action, a lot of drama, with a bunch of teams just going after Racing Point for their brake ducts. Obviously, everyone knows it's kind of a carbon copy of last year's Mercedes and also kind of this year's Mercedes, but they are going after that. A lot of teams. Lawrence Stroll said that he was disgusted by it, and they're trying to drag the Racing Point name through the dirt, which is just not true. It's what you expect. It's a carbon copy of a championship winning team, and to expect not to get some backlash from that is a bit silly, because they've shown a lot of pace this year already, and that's a bit unfair, just taking a bunch of pictures of just a absolutely amazing super dominant car and then just copy and paste it, just grab one, put it in pink and put Sergio and Stroll in it and send it out. It's not really fair to all the other teams. A lot of teams the teams that are coming after them are Williams, Renault, not Williams, I'll talk about that in a minute, McLaren, Renault, and AlphaTauri, I believe. So they're also going after them, and Williams has withdrawn from it, saying they just don't really want they don't want to be involved in that kind of drama. More news, obviously, Nico Hülkenberg was driving for the Grand Prix. News came out that, thankfully, Sergio Perez is okay. He has just come back. He is now racing in the Spanish Grand Prix, which is in a few hours. I know I'm late, by the way. You guys don't need to text me on Instagram. I know. And Sergio Perez will be racing this week, so I'm very happy for him. He is back. That means Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Hülkenberg is out of the grid for now. Everyone is kind of hyping him up from his P3 qualifying, which was absolutely amazing. Great job, Nico. He did absolutely amazing, fantastic, and that hyped up him to the point where he's now in talks with both Haas and Alfa Romeo, which leaves people out of their seats. More than likely, it will be, if he goes to Alpha, it will be Kimi Räikkönen who will leave. I was talking to my dad, and it does make the most sense for Kimi to leave. He's not really the young gun he used to be, and Antonio Giovinazzi is younger. He is Italian, so the connection is there for them. And for Haas, he would probably be replacing Romain Grosjean, who's kind of looking at Formula One as something else he doesn't particularly want to do, and he's not really been performing this year. But yeah, we shall see. Now moving on to the actual Grand Prix. Very surprising ending. It was very weird. We all know what happened. Max Verstappen, absolutely amazing race, but in the first corner, Sebastian Vettel spun. It was a bit weird because everyone thought he hit Carlos Sainz and that was fun, but he just got onto too quickly on the power, and just lit up the rear tires. And then, if you guys don't know, essentially what happens is that you light up the rear tires, they start spinning, they try to get grip, and then the front isn't really turning because it's a rear drive car, so it's spinning, and then the front wheels are kind of like an anchor, so you just spin around. People are gonna be mad about me for that, but Verstappen won the Grand Prix. Good job to him. Both Mercedes blistering their tires very badly, to the point where they just couldn't really do anything. It was very interesting. in the first few laps, both Mercedes had blistering, and then that caused them to slow down all the way to where Verstappen was right on the back of Hamilton, and he overtook him, and then he went on to chase Valtteri Bottas. Moving on, a little bit later in the race, Alexander Albon, amazing move. Absolutely amazing move around the outside of Kimi Räikkönen, and now Red Bull have dubbed him Mr. Around the Outside, which is very funny. Good job, Red Bull. He had a bunch of amazing moves this week. He made great moves around Pierre Gasly, great moves to get around Lando Norris and Lance Stroll. And Hulkenberg wasn't really a move. We're talking about that real quick. Nico Hulkenberg. A lot of people were like, why did Racing Point pit him when he was in a P5 position? It's because they came out and said something where they said that Hulkenberg kept saying there was a lot of vibration on his tire, and when he finally came in, they realized that there was blistering in the tire, and so they pulled him in. And now, moving on to later in the race, Mercedes pit for new tires, and then they still blistered their tires, especially Lewis. He really blistered his tires, and that caused him to pit with Max Verstappen, and that Valtteri pitted the lap before them, I think so, and then that caused him to get right in front of Verstappen, just like half a car length in between them, and then they turned one corner down the straight down to Brooklands, and Verstappen already overtook him. He down the inside in Brooklands, and around the outside in the next corner, and down the straight. Just a really good move by Max, and he ended up winning the race. P4. I want to talk about real quick is Charles Leclerc. He did amazing. He did really well. He's doing well, especially with that car, which is just not good. Especially how Sebastian Vettel is using it. Kind of, they're kind of mixed in. Vettel's not doing well, but Charles is doing really well. To get 2 podiums in the P4, great job. So the running order is Max Verstappen. The ending order, is Max Verstappen. My God, not pronouncing it. Lewis Hamilton's P2, then Valtteri Bottas, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, Lance Stroll, Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, Lando Norris, Daniel Kvyat, Pierre Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, Carlos Sainz, Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Räikkönen, Romain Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi, and then the 2 Williams of then George Russell and Nicholas Latifi, and then Kevin Magnussen, who is keeping up the trend of every at least one car DNFing out of every Grand Prix so far. So it was a pretty cool race. Definitely happy to see Verstappen winning. Like he said, it might kind of be a one-off kind of thing because how dominant Lewis and Valtteri are in that car, which is amazing. They're probably not going to go back on this soft of a tire, and the track might not be the same. Might not be the same, and it might not cause the same blistering that it did this week. But we shall see. I'm definitely hopeful going into the Spanish Grand Prix that they figure out a way to overtake those Mercedes, both Alex and Verstappen. My three driver of the days. The first one obviously is Max Verstappen. Great job to him. Had an absolutely amazing job. Great job. He just drove the perfect race. Funny radio message, by the way. Going into it, in the last few laps, Verstappen asked his radio engineer, "Are you hydrating? Are you staying sanitized?" Which was funny. And then my second is Charles Leclerc. Great job by him. Again, that Ferrari is basically a boat with a hole on it, and you're trying to canoe it down a lake. Then Alex with great moves. Now moving on to Formula 2, some drama in the races with, first of all, what's his name? I think Dan Ticktums. Dan Ticktums had a little bit of drama with Louis Delatraz, kind of cutting him off a little bit, and then him saying that he was going to purposely crash into him. Dan has apologized for that. He said he didn't really mean it, but now there's just a bunch of memes now, and now Callum Ilott drove amazing race in the feature race, and now took over the championship lead. But Robert Schwartzman put it on in 8th place to get reverse grid pole, and then he looked really dominant for most of the race, but we'll get to that. Jack Aiken with a good double podium, double P3. But now moving on to the sprint race. Robert Schwartzman was looking very well. The former championship leader, he was looking very well in a P1, having a kind of a battle with his teammate Mick Schumacher, and then Yuki Tsunoda just in the background, just like biding his time, just waiting for that perfect move. And then bam, Mick Schumacher makes a completely fine move into Brooklands. He was kind of alongside him in the straight. It was kind of like half of his car. It was on really alongside him, and then he just dives down the inside of Robert Schwartzman. Robert tries to turn in, try to squeeze him, but Reddy Schumacher was in front of him, and he ended up breaking his front wing, and that left him out of the race lead, and the race lead was inherited by Yuki Tsunoda, who ended up winning the race. So a lot of things went on that race, and it was a very good race. Now the championship leaders are Callum Ilott, Christian Lundgaard, Robert Schwartzman, Nikita Mazepin, Louis Delatraz, and Yuki Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou, Dan Ticktums, Felipe Drugovich, Marcus Armstrong, Jack Aiken, Luca Ghiotto, Jehan Daruvula, Nobuharu Matsushita, Giuliano Alesi, Sean Galeo, Rui Nissany, Artem Markelov, Pedro Piquet, Sato, and Simaya. So not really much competition in the lower, but I think the championship contenders are the top 3 right now. I don't think anyone else will kind of challenge them. Maybe Nikita Mazepin, who is doing pretty well. He's doing very well for himself. Maybe Mazepin, just maybe Delatraz and Tsunoda, but I don't really think that. I think they're too far back, but I think it's top 3, maybe top 4. So now it's time to wrap up the show. I hope you guys have all enjoyed. Look out for my the next episode in a few days for the preview of the Spanish Grand Prix. Hopefully that will come out because I just started school, so you guys don't really need to know that, but that kind of is interfering with a little bit of my schedule. So hope you guys have all enjoyed. Please consider sharing this podcast with friends and family. Subscribe to YouTube at Upshift Podcast. The T is a 1 because of Formula 1. Follow me on Instagram at UpshiftF1. Follow me on Twitter at the Upshift Podcast, and now follow me on Facebook at just Zeki Beauchamp. You guys know my name, hopefully not, but yeah. Follow me on all my social media platforms. Have a great day, stay safe, wear your mask, and goodbye.